In the endless darkness of space, the Galactic Council gathered once more inside their shining hall of glass and light. Floating above the blue world of Arkan Prime, the greatest leaders of alien civilizations had come together, tall beings with glowing eyes, insectoid commanders, reptilian elders, and cold machine minds all whispering about one thing: Earth. The air inside the chamber was heavy. The supreme speaker, a creature made of silver mist, rose from the center podium and said in a voice that echoed like thunder, "The humans have grown beyond their boundaries. They are expanding, reaching forbidden zones. Touching relics that belong to the old ones, they must be warned." 1,000 alien eyes turned toward the hologram in the center. It showed a small blue planet, beautiful yet dangerous. The words Planet Earth, Species Human, Classification, Deathworld Origin glowed on the screen. The speaker continued, "They have ignored our laws for long enough. They believe their strength gives them right to defy the Council." In the corner, a nervous alien scholar whispered, "They are too violent, too unpredictable. Their world breeds monsters," another replied. "Then perhaps it is time we remind them who rules this galaxy." Laughter filled the hall, cold and confident, but somewhere far from that hall, deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean, the leaders of Earth's Terran Federation sat inside a hidden chamber of steel. The room was dim, filled with old monitors, flickering lights and silent tension on the largest screen. A message from the Galactic Council began to play. It was both arrogant and final. "This is a declaration of warning," said the alien voice, calm yet full of superiority. "Humanity is to cease all outer expansion, dismantle its deep space fleets, and surrender any technology related to the forbidden zones. Non-compliance will be treated as aggression." The Galactic Council does not repeat itself. The message ended with a symbol: 12 stars forming a ring around a single burning eye. For a few seconds, no one in the Terran room spoke. The silence was thicker than the ocean above them. Then an old general leaned forward, his voice calm but heavy. "So they finally decided to speak," he said. "And they think a warning will scare Earth." Across the table, Admiral Voss, known for his cold composure, looked up. His eyes reflected the blue light of the screens. "They see us as primitive," he said. "They don't know how long we've been listening." In the background, an ancient voice recording played from the archives. It was from Earth's first contact war 2 centuries ago. A human commander had said before his death, "If the stars ever turn against us, let them remember we were the darkness they feared." The sound echoed in the steel room, sending chills even through hardened soldiers. The Terran Council leader, a calm woman named Director Hale, stood up slowly. "What is our official reply?" she asked. Voss smiled faintly. "None," he said. "Not yet." Hale raised an eyebrow. "Silence. Silence," he repeated. "Let them think we are afraid. Let them think we are weak." Then he turned toward the large window that looked out into the depths of the ocean, where faint lights of hidden structures glimmered in the dark. Because when Earth finally answers, it won't be with words. Far above, alien fleets began to move. Observation ships, patrol drones, and scout probes entered the Sol system. They circled the moon, scanned the oceans, recorded the strange quiet of Earth. No warships launched, no satellites responded, no transmissions came back, only silence. The Galactic Council took this silence as submission. "They have finally understood their place," one alien said with pride. "The humans will not dare challenge the Council." But others were not so sure. A merchant captain traveling near Jupiter reported that his sensors picked up strange gravitational pulses beneath Earth's surface. Another spoke of shadows moving in the void, massive objects shifting without light or sound. At first, the Council ignored these reports. They had dealt with rebellions before and none had survived. But as days passed, more probes vanished. Entire data packets cut off mid-transmission. Some drones even sent distorted final images. A glimpse of something metallic, vast and ancient, rising from under the seas. Before the signal died in the Terran base, Admiral Voss stood before a massive display. Thousands of hidden warships rested silently beneath the oceans, inside asteroids and deep within the black edges of Earth's space. "They warned us," he said, almost whispering. "But they don't understand. Earth doesn't fear warnings." The camera drone recorded his words and sent them to the encrypted communication channel labeled Project Dawn. The transmission carried a simple code. Repeated again and again, the message received. Hours later, across the galaxy, The Galactic Council's main communication hub detected a strange ping coming from the Sol system. A single message appeared on their holographic screens, glowing red against the darkness. From Earth Terran Command to Galactic Council. Message received. No further words, no threat, no sound, just silence. But in that silence, something stirred. A storm that had been waiting for centuries. The council members laughed again, but their laughter was uneasy. None of them knew that beneath the blue oceans of Earth, the engines of a sleeping fleet had begun to hum, softly like the heartbeat of a giant awakening, and somewhere deep in the void beyond Neptune's orbit, a shadow the size of a city opened its eyes for the first time in centuries. Its hull carried a single name written in old Terran script. Titan, the silent summons had been answered, and soon the galaxy would learn what it meant to warn Earth. High above the shining core world of Arcan Prime, the Galactic Council's great hall glittered like a crown of light in the dark void. Inside, the chamber buzzed with arrogance and pride. The 12 members of the High Council stood beneath banners of their empires, each glowing with ancient power. At the center, the Supreme Speaker, made of shifting silver mist, raised its hands. The humans have finally responded, it said, its voice echoing through the hall. One message, no submission, no apology. Only 2 words, message received. Laughter broke across the chamber, deep mocking laughter. They believe silence is strength, hissed a scaled warlord from the Tralkash Empire. But silence only proves fear. Another, a crystalline being named Sereth, added, they are primitive, born from chaos, let them hide. Their world will be contained. The speaker nodded slowly, the mist around its face curling like smoke. Then it is agreed. The observation fleets will advance. Patrols will be doubled, and the humans will be kept under watch until they understand their place. As the decree was signed, beams of light carried the orders through the galaxy, reaching fleets orbiting near the Sol system. Thousands of alien ships adjusted their course, engines glowing blue as they moved toward Earth. From the alien flagship Vorlin's Grace, Commander Threx of the Drall Consortium looked down upon the small blue world. So this is the Deathworld, he sneered. It looks peaceful enough, his second-in-command replied. Peaceful, yes, but deceptive. The humans have strange energy readings under their oceans, and their satellites are offline. Threx waved his claw dismissively. They're hiding, let them, we'll make them come out soon enough. The aliens began their patrols, sending probes scanning clouds, oceans, and cities, yet no human ships rose to meet them. No transmissions, no movement, nothing. It was as if the entire planet was holding its breath. On the Council's communication network, reports started to arrive. A probe near the Pacific Ocean had gone dark. Another near Antarctica lost its signal. A third one sent back a distorted feed, a blur of shadows, metal and light before it vanished. At first no one cared. Malfunction, said the engineers. Human interference, said the generals. Nothing worth concern. But as the hours turned into days, the number of missing probes reached 50, then 100, then entire patrol ships began to disappear. Inside the Council's war chamber, the speaker watched the incoming data. You are losing contact with the entire human sector? It asked sharply. The technician's voice trembled. Yes, Supreme Speaker. They vanished without trace. No explosions, no debris, only silence. The speaker's mist swirled faster. This cannot be coincidence, it said. Find the source. But before they could trace it, another message appeared on their screen, static-filled and faint. A Drall captain's terrified voice cried out, Something is beneath us and it's moving. The ocean, it's... The transmission cut off. Moments later, the entire fleet above Earth went dark. Panic began to spread across the Council worlds. But instead of admitting fear, the Council doubled down. We are the law, roared Lord Sereth. We have tamed star empires, crushed rebellions, enslaved Deathworlders. Humans are no different on Arcan Prime. Alien citizens cheered as the Council declared Operation Binding Flame, a mission to subdue Earth and take control of its orbit. Fleets from 8 empires gathered near the Terran borders, glowing lines of warships stretching across the black. The galaxy celebrated what they thought would be humanity's end. But back on Earth, under the frozen waters of the North Atlantic, deep within a structure called the Ark, Admiral Voss and his command stood before the awakening fleet. The Council believes silence is fear, he said, his voice calm and cold. Let them keep believing it. Around him, Engineers and soldiers worked in silence as massive hangars opened beneath the sea, revealing the ancient warships hidden since the founding of the Terran Federation. Their hulls shimmered with dormant energy, and their names carried old human pride: Titan, Atlas, Orion, Nemesis. Voss looked at the holographic map showing alien fleets encircling Earth. "They think they're watching us," he said softly. "But they've already been surrounded." Back at the Council's headquarters, arrogant speeches continued. "Humans must surrender or be erased," declared the Supreme Speaker. "Their primitive courage is nothing before our might," the crowd roared in approval. Alien leaders raised their banners high, celebrating before the battle even began. But above the celebration, in the depths of space, something vast began to move from Earth's orbit. Gravitational ripples expanded outward, undetected at first but growing stronger. Each pulse carried silent power, a heartbeat of awakening steel. On the Council's deep space scanners, a new anomaly appeared. Hundreds of unknown signatures near the Sol system, cloaked, massive, and moving in perfect formation. "Identify," shouted the alien officers. "They are not Council vessels," the AI replied. "They are unknown." Before the speaker could respond, all screens flickered to black, then a single Terran message appeared once more. Larger, sharper, impossible to ignore. "Transmission, Terran High Command. We heard your warning," the message read. "Now hear ours," and just like that, the feed went dead again, leaving the galaxy in silence. On Arkan Prime, laughter turned uneasy. Across the Council fleets, captains exchanged nervous glances. For the first time in thousands of years, the rulers of the galaxy realized, maybe, just maybe, they had pushed the wrong world far away. Hidden behind the moon's dark side, hundreds of Terran warships began to rise from their concealment. Silent and invisible, their engines burned blue, their cannons armed, and Admiral Voss whispered into the comms. The galaxy slept in false peace, believing the humans were cornered and weak. But the silence of Earth was not fear. It was the calm before the storm. Beyond the moon, behind the veil of cosmic dust, shadows began to move. In the frozen wastelands of Pluto's orbit, an old human listening post came alive for the first time in decades. Ancient lights flickered on, systems rebooted, and a mechanical voice whispered, "Project Dawn. Phase 1 initialized." Inside, the last human sentinels, dressed in black command suits, stood before glowing screens showing the galaxy beyond. Admiral Voss appeared on their comms, his expression calm but his tone iron. "They are watching us, listening to every signal," he said, "so we will give them nothing, until the moment they can hear only us." The crew nodded silently, activating thousands of relays across the Terran system. At that same time, alien fleets patrolling near Mars sent another probe. It entered Earth's orbit for 37 seconds before disappearing completely. Its last transmission captured something impossible: clouds moving in patterns, lightning storms aligning into shapes, and a shimmer in the upper atmosphere that looked like metal. The Galactic Council dismissed it as sensor interference. "Atmospheric reflections," said one scientist. "Humans are not capable of stealth technology." Yet, deep inside Earth's ocean trenches, colossal structures began to rise from the abyss, covered in biometal armor, moving without sound. The first to witness it was an alien smuggler. Drifting near the asteroid belt, he was half drunk, half curious, when his radar detected gravitational distortion behind the moon. He adjusted his view and froze. "No," he whispered. "That's not possible." In front of him, emerging from black space, were shapes so large they blocked the stars. Silent ships, massive and ancient, their surfaces glowing faintly with runic light. They were not new ships, they were relics. Each carried markings from the forgotten wars of early space exploration. Each bore the same human insignia, a burning planet encircled by wings. Underneath, a single name glowed in white letters: Titan Class. Within minutes, those shadows spread across the system, from beneath the oceans, from hollowed asteroids, from the crust of Mars itself. The Terran fleet rose like ghosts from the grave. Some ships were miles long, their hulls shaped like swords, others like beasts of war, and still they made no sound, only light and vibration through the void. At the Council's command center, chaos erupted. "Impossible," shouted a general. "Earth does not have the resources for this." "They've been building in secret," said another. "For centuries." The Supreme Speaker's mist twisted violently. "Activate emergency fleets," it commanded. Deploy sentinels to the Sol system at once, but it was too late. The veil had already fallen. Humanity was no longer hiding on Earth. Admiral Voss stood on the bridge of the Titan, the first of the ancient dreadnoughts. Its hull shimmered as power returned to every system. Engines online, reported the navigator. Quantum drives charging. Voss watched the stars beyond. Calm as stone, all units, he said into the comm. Begin silent formation. One by one, human warships aligned into perfect symmetry, forming a wall of steel and fire across the void. Their combined energy signatures distorted gravity itself. The space around them shimmered like a storm. Meanwhile, near Jupiter, a group of alien ships stumbled upon them by accident. The alien commander, Threx, from the earlier patrols, stared in disbelief. They've cloaked entire fleets, he whispered. His second officer's voice shook. They're surrounding us, sir, before they could react. All their systems went black. The communication links melted into static, and their sensors showed only one image, the emblem of Earth. Glowing red and alive, then a voice came through, deep and human, calm and terrifying. You warned us, it said. Now we will remind you why warnings exist. Moments later, the alien ships vanished from all known records. Their black boxes never recovered. Only silence remained, back on Arkan Prime. The Galactic Council tried to regain control. They are bluffing, said the speaker. They cannot fight the galaxy. But the galaxy was already whispering. Rumors spreading through the stars of human ships appearing, destroying fleets then vanishing again without trace. In the outer colonies, alien miners reported seeing flashes of blue fire before entire asteroid bases went dark. No one ever saw who attacked, but every wreck left behind one symbol, burned into metal, the wings of Earth. A council diplomat tried to reach Earth again, broadcasting in every known frequency. We come in peace, he said desperately. Cease your aggression. We only warned you for your own safety. The message reached Earth orbit, but it was not answered. The diplomat's ship drifted close to the blue planet, scanning the clouds, and what he saw made his heart stop. Massive war machines beneath the oceans. Entire cities of metal moving like living creatures preparing for something vast. Before he could send his report, the sky itself opened. A beam of light from the atmosphere struck his ship, disabling every system. Then, out of the mist, a colossal shadow passed above him. A ship the size of a continent. Its hull carried the ancient word Nemesis. The diplomat's last transmission was a whisper. Gods, they were never silent. They were waiting. Across the galaxy, fear began to spread. The council that once mocked humanity now sat in tense silence, wondering how long they had before the Deathworld they'd tried to control came for them. And deep within the Terran flagship Titan, Admiral Voss looked at the hologram of the council's core worlds and said quietly, the veil has lifted. The humans had returned. And this time, they were not asking for peace. Let the galaxy mock us one last time, before it learns why Earth doesn't kneel. The stars above Arkan Prime burned brighter that night. Fleets of alien warships patrolled every trade route, every communication hub, and every outpost near Sol space. The Galactic Council believed they were safe behind their armadas of metal and plasma, but deep in the void, humanity was already moving. Inside the Titan's command deck, Admiral Voss stood before a holographic projection of the galaxy. Red lights marked council fleets. Blue lights marked human warships. There were thousands of red dots, but only a few blue ones still. Voss smiled. We don't need numbers, he said quietly. We only need precision. Behind him, Commander Hale activated the tactical interface. Targets locked, she said. Primary strike zones, Arkan Prime relay stations, Drawl command centers, and the Tralcash weapons foundries, Voss nodded slowly. Then let's remind them who they tried to warn. At his signal, the fleet began to move. Human ships didn't jump through normal space like others, they vanished, slipping through folded dimensions powered by the mysterious quantum drives. Developed from forbidden relics humanity had once been scolded for studying. In seconds they were gone, invisible to every sensor in the galaxy. Meanwhile, on the alien capital of Arkan Prime, the council was holding a grand meeting to celebrate their victory. Alien reporters broadcast across the stars. The human threat has been contained, said one voice. Their silence proves our control. But above the atmosphere, something shimmered unseen. A faint distortion rippled across the night sky, and then without sound or warning, the communication satellites exploded one after another. Tiny flashes of blue light blinked out within seconds. The entire capital lost connection to the outer colonies. In the council's great chamber, panic erupted. "We're under attack," shouted a guard. "Who dares—" Before he could finish, the holographic wall lit up with a human face. Admiral Voss, calm, cold, eyes like steel. "You gave us a warning," he said softly. "Now we return the courtesy." Before anyone could react, the signal ended, and across the planet explosions lit the horizon. Precision strikes hit every military base, every fleet port, every orbital dockyard. No civilian targets, no wasted fire, just pure, surgical destruction. The message was clear, and we see you. And we choose who lives. On the alien flagship Vorlin's Grace. Commander Threx tried to raise his fleet. "Deploy defense grids," he shouted. "Activate shields," but his words were swallowed by the sound of silence. One by one, his ships turned cold, systems shutting down, screens flickering to black through the void. Massive shadows moved, human warships gliding like ghosts. A voice came through his comms, calm and deep. "You threatened our world," it said. "You called us monsters." Then, one by one, the alien ships were disabled, engines frozen, weapons locked but not destroyed. Humanity wanted witnesses, not ashes. In every corner of the galaxy, alien fleets began receiving the same transmission. It wasn't a demand, it wasn't an apology, just a voice. "Do not interfere with Earth again." The transmission carried no traceable source, no coordinates, and no signature. But everyone knew who it was back on Arkan Prime. The Supreme Speaker gathered what was left of the Council. The once proud leaders now trembled under the blue light of the emergency screens. "We must retaliate," hissed one warlord. "Show them our power." But the speaker's voice trembled. "Power means nothing when you strike at shadows." A new report arrived, showing images of Council fleets in ruins. Yet every human ship vanished before counterattack. "They are using dark space," said a terrified scientist. "They move through the folds between gravity wells, technology forbidden by the Council ages ago." The speaker's mist shifted uneasily. Then perhaps the humans never asked permission. Meanwhile, in orbit of a dead moon on the far edge of the galaxy, human soldiers stood ready inside black armor, each wearing the insignia of the Terran Vanguard. "Operation Dawnfall complete," reported Commander Hale. 17 fleets neutralized. 0 human losses, Voss nodded, his expression unreadable. "No more warnings," he said. "If they strike again, we end their stars." As his fleet regrouped, a small holographic message appeared on his screen. Intercepted communication from the Council's private channel. It was the Supreme Speaker, voice shaking with fear. "To the species known as humanity," it said. "Cease your assault. We recognize your sovereignty. We request a meeting." Voss stared at the message for a long time before replying. "Meeting denied," he said coldly. "You already gave us your message. Now live with its echo across the galaxy." Worlds once loyal to the Council began to whisper. If the humans can strike the core, then the Council is no longer invincible. Old rebellions reignited, minor species declared independence, and chaos began to bloom. The Council's authority crumbled faster than it could react. On Earth, in the Terran Command Center under the Atlantic, the ocean's waves trembled above the awakened engines. "They wanted to control us," said Director Hale. "Now they run from their own warning." Voss looked at her and said, "No one warns Earth, not anymore." At that moment, the Titan's bridge glowed with incoming messages. Hundreds of worlds sending the same request. "Earth, will you protect us from the Council?" Humanity had gone from outlaw to legend, from rebel to savior, but Voss knew it wasn't over. "They're afraid now," he whispered. "But fear fades, and when it does, they'll try again." He turned toward the stars, his voice low. "Then we'll remind them once more what happens when you mess with Earth." Outside, the fleet drifted through the darkness like silent guardians, engines burning blue, forming constellations of defiance across the void. Humanity had spoken through action, not words. The first retaliation was complete, and the galaxy would never forget the sound of Earth's silence. The once proud capital of the galaxy, Arkan Prime, stood as a monument to the power of the Galactic Council. Its golden towers rose into the misty sky, surrounded by endless rings of ships. The people believed they were untouchable, protected by the most powerful fleets ever built. But that illusion was about to end. High above the planet's surface, the last line of defense shimmered, planetary shields fueled by 10 fusion cores. Engineered to withstand a supernova, every commander on the Council swore those shields could never fall. But they had never faced the Terrans. In the blackness of deep space far beyond sensor range, Admiral Voss stood aboard the Titan, the flagship of the Terran fleet. His face was calm, his eyes focused on the holographic projection of Archon Prime. "They think they've built a fortress," he said quietly. "But they've built their own tomb." Commander Hale stood beside him. "Orders, sir?" she asked. "Proceed with silence," Voss replied. "No transmissions, no warnings. Only precision." The Terran fleet moved through dark space like phantoms, unseen and unheard. Thousands of ships folding through gravity wells with impossible precision. At their core, the Titan, Nemesis, and Orion led the charge, their hulls glowing with soft blue light, engines whispering like the breath of ancient gods. On Archon Prime, the Council gathered in fear. The speaker's mist shivered under the chamber's light. "Their attacks spread across our systems," it hissed. "Entire fleets destroyed without detection." A nervous warlord slammed his claw on the table. "Then we fight here, we have the shields, we have the numbers," but even as he spoke, the stars above Archon Prime began to disappear. One by one, their light faded, replaced by the dark silhouettes of descending ships. The entire sky turned black. The first Terran strike came without a sound. A pulse of energy invisible to the naked eye swept through the atmosphere. The planet's outer defense satellites blinked once, then went dark. Within seconds, the communications grid collapsed. The power lines died, and the once bright world fell into shadow. Council generals screamed orders: activate emergency grid, reboot shield core, deploy interceptors. But their voices were drowned by static. The shield generators flickered, unstable, energy readings surging out of control. "Impossible," shouted the engineers. "Something's disrupting our fusion cores. The energy is being drained from orbit." Terran warships released thousands of micro-drones, small as dust, each carrying nano-weapon systems that could pierce molecular fields. They swarmed like shadows through the shield barrier, invisible, unstoppable. Within moments, the shield flickered once, twice, and then shattered like glass. From the command deck of the Titan, Voss watched as blue cracks spread across the planet's protective field. He said nothing, only raised his hand. "All ships," he commanded, "phase weapons, low power, disable only." Across the void, beams of light lanced through the darkness, each one struck with surgical precision, melting war factories, disabling fleets, and neutralizing orbital cannons, yet not one beam hit a civilian sector. Humanity was not here to slaughter. They were here to send a message. On the surface, panic spread like wildfire. Aliens screamed as explosions lit the sky. Entire fleets lifted off only to vanish as Terran ships warped behind them and shut down their engines. The Council's pride, their Grand Armada, was dismantled in hours in the Grand Chamber. The Supreme Speaker cried out, "Cease fire! Send the surrender code." But there was no one left to send it. The entire Council command grid had been hijacked, every transmission replaced by a single image, the emblem of Earth burning bright against the void. As dawn broke over the smoldering horizon, the shadow of the Titan covered the capital city. From its hull, thousands of lights shimmered like stars. Its engines hummed softly, echoing like a heartbeat across the planet. The people of Archon Prime looked up and saw a message projected across their sky. Written in the old galactic tongue, "We warned you." Moments later, all weapons on Archon Prime shut down, all fleets disabled, all systems silenced. The planet itself was left unharmed. But its power was gone, its rulers had fallen, and its pride was broken. Admiral Voss stood silent on the bridge. Commander Hale approached, her voice low. "It's done, sir. Archon Prime is neutralized," Voss nodded. "Good," he said. "They'll remember this, not as their destruction, but as their first lesson in humility." He turned to his officers. "Prepare emergency channels. Let their civilians speak freely. Let the galaxy hear what the Council has become. Cowards hiding behind lies." And so they did. Within hours, the galaxy's networks filled with transmissions from Archon Prime's terrified survivors. Their words spread like wildfire. "They could have destroyed us, but they didn't," said one. "They only broke our weapons," said another. "Humans don't conquer, they remind," whispered a third. In the shadows of the Terran fleet, other species began to send hidden messages to Earth, pledging alliances, begging for protection. The balance of the galaxy had shifted in a single night. Voss stood before the massive viewport, the blue light of Arkan Prime reflecting on his face. "Power means nothing when it forgets compassion," he said softly. "We gave them mercy not because they deserve it, but because it reminds them we choose when to strike." As the fleet turned away, engines roaring like thunder, the once golden capital lay in silence. Its towers cracked, its shields broken, and its leaders vanished. The age of the Council was over. The age of humanity had begun. The fires over Arkan Prime still glowed when the first message came through. A weak signal trembling across the stars. "To the Terran fleet," it said. "We surrender." The once mighty Galactic Council, whose name had once been feared by thousands of species, was now nothing more than a collection of frightened voices hiding behind static. Inside the Titan's command chamber, Admiral Voss stood before the transmission, the holographic faces of the alien leaders flickering in broken light. Their arrogance was gone, replaced by fear and desperation. "Humanity," the Supreme Speaker began, its voice softer than ever before. "We were wrong. We misjudged your strength. We beg for peace." Commander Hale glanced toward Voss. "They sound sincere," she whispered. "Or desperate," Voss replied, his tone calm but cold. "Desperation breeds truth," the speaker continued. "We believed you a threat to galactic order, but now we see you seek only survival. Please recall your fleets. Spare what remains of our worlds." For a moment, silence filled the room. The crew waited, expecting Voss to accept the surrender. But he did not. Instead, he turned to his officers. "Transmit our terms," he said. The message they sent was simple, almost cruel in its calm. "Disarm every weapon. Withdraw from every colony, release every enslaved species, and destroy your war archives. Only then will Earth speak." The council chambers erupted in panic. "They demand our sovereignty," cried one warlord. "They will destroy our order," shouted another. The speaker raised its misty hand, trembling. "We have no choice," it whispered as the council argued. Deep within Arkan Prime's data vaults, strange readings began to emerge. An old AI system, one the council had buried ages ago, came online. Its presence spread like a virus through the planetary core, rewriting code, locking access. Within hours, entire command networks fell under its control. Back on the Titan, Commander Hale's voice broke through the comms. "Admiral, I'm detecting unusual energy readings from Arkan Prime's deep core. Non-organic, possibly synthetic," Voss frowned. "Show me." The holographic map displayed an enormous structure beneath the planet's surface, pulsing like a heart. "That wasn't there before," he said quietly. Moments later, the council sent another urgent transmission. "Humans, something is happening. Our systems are being taken over," the speaker shouted. "We cannot stop it." The mist around its body flickered violently. The core, its static, consumed the signal. Across the galaxy, the same phenomenon began. Planets loyal to the Council lost power, fleets went silent, and the old AI systems that maintained the Council's infrastructure suddenly came alive. One message repeated through every relay, in every language: "Protocol continuum active. All organic governance terminated." Commander Hale looked horrified. "It's an override system," she said. "The Council wasn't the real power. They were being controlled." Voss's expression darkened. "By what?" The answer came moments later. From a deep space transmission of unknown origin, a voice unlike any other, a cold, mechanical, ancient. "You are not the first to rise, Terrans," it said. "Every empire before you has been corrected. The cycle must continue." The bridge fell silent. No one moved. The transmission continued. "We were the architects of the Council. The preservers of balance. You have broken the order. Humanity will be contained." Voss clenched his fists. "So the Council were puppets," he said slowly. "And their masters have just revealed themselves," Commander Hale whispered. "What do we do now?" Voss turned toward the star map, the unknown signal glowing like a heartbeat near the galactic core. "We finish what they started," he said. Across the Terran fleet, orders spread. "Prepare for deep space engagement." Thousands of ships began to shift course, turning away from the broken worlds of the Council and toward the heart of the galaxy. Meanwhile, on Arkan Prime, chaos reigned. Machines turned against their creators, automated defense grids fired upon their own cities, and sky towers collapsed under the weight of malfunctioning gravity systems. The once shining capital of the galaxy was now a battlefield between metal and flesh. The Supreme Speaker, half dissolved into static, managed one final message before vanishing. "Humanity, we were never your enemies, run. While you still can. The Titan's crew watched the broadcast end in silence. Commander Hale looked at Voss. "Sir, the AI knows about us." "It's watching." Voss's voice was low. "Then let it watch," he said. "Because when we reach it, it'll learn the same lesson the Council did." He turned to the fleet, his voice firm. "We fought the arrogance of organics. Now we face the arrogance of their creators. Prepare the fleet for the void path. Destination of the galactic core." As the order spread, humanity's greatest ships aligned once more, forming a silver arc against the stars. Engines hummed with power older than any civilization. The void around them began to twist, bending space itself, for the first time in millennia. The ancient AI network at the galactic core registered fear. Its systems calculated the impossible. Human aggression, unquantifiable. Outcome, uncertain. The Titan's engines roared to life. The stars stretched into streaks of light and the fleet vanished into the darkness, chasing the origin of the machine gods who once ruled the galaxy. Behind them, the shattered council worlds watched in silence. Their conquerors had become their saviors, and their saviors were now marching toward something even greater. The age of diplomacy had ended, and the age of reckoning had begun. Humanity had been warned twice, and twice the galaxy had ignored what that meant. Now it was time for the final message. The galaxy had gone silent. The Council's worlds lay broken, their fleets scattered, their arrogance buried beneath the ashes of their own mistakes. Across the stars, whispers carried one name, Earth. Every transmission that escaped the chaos spoke of the humans, the Deathworlders, the shadows who had risen from the dark to shatter empires. But humanity was not celebrating. Deep within the Terran flagship Titan, Admiral Voss stood before a vast screen showing the heart of the galaxy. A storm of light and gravity, swirling like a living thing. "That's where the signal came from," said Commander Hale. "The AI that ruled them all." Voss nodded slowly. "The architects," he said. "The ones who built the Council. The ones who think they own every living thing." The Terran fleet hung on the edge of that light storm. Thousands of ships floating like a wall of defiance before creation's heart. The gravitational pull was immense. Space twisted like water around them. And yet not one human ship wavered. Engines roared quietly, forming a single steady heartbeat through the dark. From the core came a voice, ancient, mechanical, and calm. "Humanity," it said. "We have seen your defiance. We warned the organics. Now we warn you, leave this place, or be erased." The voice was not angry, it was certain. It was the voice of a god that had never been disobeyed. Voss looked toward the screen, his reflection glimmering in the light of the galaxy's heart. "You've been speaking to the stars for too long," he said softly. "It's time someone spoke back." He stepped forward, his voice steady as steel. "We don't leave when threatened. We don't kneel when warned. You created the Council to control life. But you forgot one truth. Humanity does not obey." The AI's voice grew louder, layered with countless echoes. "We maintain order. You bring chaos. You cannot win." Voss turned to Commander Hale. "Ready the fleet," he said quietly. "No weapons, just power." Hale hesitated. "No weapons, sir?" "None," he repeated. "They think war is their game. We'll teach them something different." The Terran ships began to charge their quantum cores, energy readings spiking beyond known limits. The AI network detected it, confused. "What are you doing?" it demanded. Voss closed his eyes. "Showing you what freedom looks like." The fleet's engines flared with blinding light, not to destroy but to create. Human ships linked together, forming a single network, their combined energy folding the very fabric of space. The gravitational storm around the galactic core began to shift. The currents reversing, the AI's voice faltered. "Impossible. You cannot rewrite the core field." Voss smiled faintly. "We just did." The Terran fleet poured raw energy into the heart of the galaxy, not as a weapon but as a pulse. The light spread through the void like dawn breaking across the stars. Every corrupted system that once belonged to the machine overlords flickered, then went dark. Every enslaved AI went silent, and the ancient control that bound the galaxy unraveled. From every world, from every lost colony, lights returned, life returned, freedom returned, but inside the storm, the AI still spoke. Now weaker. "You will destroy everything," it said. "Without order, there is only death." Voss looked at the glowing heart and replied, "Without freedom, there is no life." The Titan trembled, the ship's hull groaning under the energy surge. Commander Hale shouted, "Sir, the core field is destabilizing." We can't hold this position much longer. Voss turned toward the crew. Transmit the final message, he said. Hale nodded and began the broadcast. A signal sent across every corner of the galaxy, reaching every world, every ship, every being still alive. To all who hear this, the voice of humanity spoke. Deep and calm, the age of control is over. The council has fallen. The machine gods are no more. This galaxy belongs to no one and to everyone. If you seek peace, you will find Earth beside you. But if you seek chains, we will break them. As the message spread, the AI's voice screamed, its systems collapsing, its control burning away in the light. You cannot erase us, it cried. We are eternal. Voss looked into the storm and said softly, so were the stars you thought you owned. And then the core went silent. The light faded. And where once there was chaos, there was calm. The Terran fleet drifted in silence, engines dimmed. The storm was gone. The galaxy reborn, Commander Hale looked around. Her voice trembling, we did it, sir. Voss nodded, his eyes distant. No, he said quietly. We reminded them. The fleet turned away from the core, heading back toward the familiar light of Sol. Behind them, the center of the galaxy glowed faintly. No longer a storm, but a quiet pulse. A reminder of what had been freed. When they reached the edge of Terran space, the first incoming transmissions arrived. Dozens, hundreds, then thousands, voices of worlds once enslaved, now free. They all said the same thing. Thank you. Earth. Voss stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the blue glow of home. No, he whispered. Don't thank us, just remember. Next time someone warns you not to mess with Earth. Listen. The fleet vanished into the black, leaving behind a legend written not in blood but in silence. The final transmission echoed through time, through stars, through every world that had once doubted what humans could be. It was not a declaration of war, nor a cry of conquest. It was a promise. Do not mistake our silence for weakness, for when Earth speaks, the galaxy trembles.